Okay, so the next problem in the lead code we are solving is valid anagram. Okay, so basically we'll see like what is anagram means. Okay, so we have given the two strings, okay, S and T. We need to say if it is an anagram or not. If it is true, like we'll say true. I mean, if it is anagram, we'll say true, and we'll return as a false. Okay, so now let's try to understand what is this anagram, right? So basically, what does the anagram mean is, so let's say that there are two strings. Okay, let's say that I call it as A, B, C, D, and there is one more string. Let me change the color for this. So let's say for this one, right? I can say this as A, D, C, B. Okay. So if you can see it, right? Basically, I can rearrange these characters to get this one, or I can say that I can rearrange these characters to get this one. Correct. I can just jumble these characters are just jumbled. I can just place it in a right order, and if I could place it right, let's say that I from this string I can get the other string. Correct. A, B, C, D. So this means these two strings are anagram. Okay, so to solve this problem, what one thing that we need to understand here is to verify if there are two strings or anagram. So basically the frequency of characters should be same, right? What does it mean? So let's say that I have a character like A, B, C, D. Okay, this time I have added one more A here. This time I will take the same example, A, D, C, B. Okay, like I mean, can we say that this is an anagram? No, right? Like at least this is a simple example, so I can rearrange it far best to this way. Okay, still there is one character missing. Okay, frequency in the sense how often this character is coming in the one string. Okay, so what does it mean? A has occurred twice, and B has occurred once, C has occurred once, and D has occurred once. Here A is occurred once, B is one, C is one, and D is one. Okay, so if we can extract the frequency of the first string and the second string, and if we just compare the frequencies, right, we can get the answer. Correct. So if the frequency is matching, however we need, we can arrange, right? So that is the key point to answer for this one, right? Okay, so now like once we identify the frequency, we could just compare. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, so why the frequency is important, and the next next rest of the code depends on like how we can extract this frequency. Okay, that's it. Like this is the theory behind this problem. Okay, so now how are we going to do it, right? So basically this is the key value pair, right? This is the key, this is the value, so we need a dictionary here. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll iterate through this characters, and we'll store a frequency. Okay, so let's say that once I visited this one, right, I will say A as initially I will say that A is equal to 0, right? Or I can say nothing. There is nothing yet. Okay, in the dictionary. So once I get it, I will add it as 1. Okay, and once I this is done now, so I will go to this character. I'm trying to basically build this frequency mapping. Okay, so next I will go here, and there is already one in here. Okay, I will just increment it plus 1, and I will go to B. B is not found, but so I will add it as set it as 1. C also I will set it as 1. D also I will set it as 1. Okay, and similarly what I will do is I will do the same thing for this also. Okay, so A as initially there will be nothing, so I will be setting it to 1, and B will be 1, C will be 1, and D will be 1. Okay, so this is how once we build this mapping, right, we could just simply compare it and we are done. Okay, now let's check the implementation. So basically here, right, okay, one more thing is let me just give one example. Okay, so basically before even calculating, like I mean here, right, it involves time complexity now in building this all this thing, right? We need to calculate this. So before even going there, what we can simply do is we can check the length first. Okay, so what is the length of the first string, and what is the length of the second string? Okay, if the length is not matching, obviously, like I mean, one of the frequency is going to differ at the end. Correct. So like here also you can see a is 2, d is 1, right? And also obviously the frequency is going to differ, so we don't need to calculate the frequency in this case. Correct. So let's say that this length is what 5, this length is 4. Correct. 5 is equal to 4. However you rearrange these things, you are not going to get a string of length 4 character, right? So this can never be anagram. So that's why to improve the time complexity before even building the frequency, what we could do is we can go and check for this condition to save some time complexity. Okay, and the next thing is I will tell you, like I mean, why I'm using the default dict. Okay, so let's say that for now we are just storing the mapping for S and T. Okay, basically we are calculating the frequencies. Okay, and also you can expand this into two for loops for time being. Okay, expand this into two for loops and try to whatever we discussed so far, right? Whatever we discussed, like I mean, we'll go to this one, right? let me change to this. We'll build a frequency for this one first, and then we'll go build a frequency for this one, correct? So you can split it into two for loops, but again we are going to we should try to reduce the time complexity, right? To avoid multiple iteration for the for loop, what we are going to do here is we can in the one iteration we know the length is same, okay? So we can just have the index is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? Whatever the length of this, we are going to iterate this. Based on it, we are going to increment the, I mean, set the mapping, basically how many times if a has occurred, if it is a is there or not, okay? We are going to set it based on it, and once we build the frequency, we'll finally have to compare it, okay? And let me tell you why I have used the default dict, okay? So let's say that if you want to update the value for a dictionary, okay, let's say that in case of normal dictionary, right, if this key is not existing, if you try to update it, it will say that it is not found, correct? It should have some predefined values here, correct? So let's say that when we visit this a node for the first time, there will be empty, right? This will be empty, a will be like a dictionary will be empty. If I'm trying to update it, it will not work, correct? So like it's like a not defined or something like that, okay? So what we can do is you can simply use the dict, like the normal dict, and use the get method, okay? Check the get value, read the current value. If it is not there, use it as set it as 0, and then based on that update it. All these things you will have to explicitly handle if you use a dict, okay? That the default one, that like, I mean, in general with what we use, right? Or we'll have to handle it. So but using this default dict, I am telling that it is an integer type, okay? Like let's say that if it is not found, right, give me a 0 value for it, okay? If I declare it as int, right, so if the value is not found, it will give me a 0, okay? So I can just simply add it to it. So once I encounter any character, any new character, let's say C, okay, I can just simply increment it by 1. If it is not found also, it will handle it explicitly, and it will give me an incremented value. So if it is not there, it will set it to 1. If it was already there, let's say that this value was 2, C is equal to 2, like, I mean, C has occurred twice, so the frequency is 2. So if once I increment this, right, it will increment this value, okay? That is it, okay? So just to summarize, right, so to solve this problem, the basically we need to know the frequency of each characters, okay? So how often these characters are coming in. So if it is same, we can declare it as an anagram, okay? So for that, we are calculating the mapping, or we can say frequencies, okay? You can split it into the two for loops again to avoid the time complexity. As we know that length are same for s and t, what we are going to do here is we are going to reuse the same for loop, okay? Based on the index, we are going to do it. We will read the character and we'll update the mappings to it, like we'll be calculating the frequencies, okay? So once we have the frequencies like this, right, a is equal to whatever the final one, right, once we have it, we'll just compare it, right? So here you can see it, right? Here we got one dictionary, and here we got one dictionary. And also in Python, with it's a straightforward thing for us to easily like, I mean, compare like this one, okay? We can compare it and get it done. That's it. Thanks.